What's going on, guys? T2RX6 here, back for another third-party review, and today we're taking a look at the Transformission Powertrain. You may know him better as Motormaster, and oh my god, is this guy impressive. Like, right off the bat, I really like this guy. Some people are going to have issue that the cab doesn't come off here. It's one thing to note is that Motormaster pretty much makes up from here to here on the truck, and the rest of this is all like combiner stuff, but they do give you some little like base options and stuff. I don't really care for the base options, but the truck is just awesome. It's very much that like Kenworth truck that he was with the top here, and he looks great. The trailer is a little bit skinny compared to MP10. I'll show you some comparisons there after. But it looks nice. It would have been nice if the doors could open, but given the other things the trailer has to do, I can understand why it doesn't. And it's very MP10 styled trailer. I actually kind of could see him doing like an Optimus repaint of this just for the fun of it. Kind of like that Masquerade episode, I believe it was called. The wheels spin great. They have a, it feels kind of rubbery, but almost like it's a very hard rubber. But nonetheless, he does roll just fine across the floor. It looks good doing it. If you are someone who's worried about the articulation of the truck, it goes all the way like that with really no interference. There is a little crotch piece under here that does bang this little like what will end up being the top part of his torso here. I don't know if you can see that. My only, I think, gripe with this mold is the way the wheels work. They do have this tendency to kind of flip in on you. I wish they did peg in a little nicer, but pretty much any complaint I have is going to be a nitpick. As a quick comparison, here he is next to MP10. You can see the cabs of the truck are very similar. MP10 might be just slightly wider, but it doesn't look off for the truck that Motormaster is. The trailer is where you see the biggest difference. So this is the Year of the Horse one. You can see, let's see if I can get this into the frame in a meaningful way. You can see here that the length of the trailer is a little bit shorter on Motormaster here, and especially if we take it to the side here. Let's bring this back down. Hopefully you can see it. The width is definitely a little bit different too. The width is not super noticeable with respect to this Year of the Horse Optimus Prime. It's kind of like from here to like where this detail shows up. So it's really, you know, maybe like a 5 millimeters, 6 millimeters difference in overall width. So it's really not that big of a deal. I don't think they look terrible next to each other. As trailers do come in different sizes, so I really don't think that looks bad. Just a quick comparison here. While we can do this, we'll take the trailer off just so you can see the trucks better. It looks good. I have no complaints about the truck mode. So super quick before we transform him, here he is with all the Stunticons that have been released so far. I do feel like Dragstrip is a little bit feeling like the odd man out, but I mean, he's a race car and the rest of them are supercars, so that's kind of the way it is, right? So let's get this guy transformed to his robot mode, and we're going to start by undoing some little tabs here that are going to take away pieces of the trailer. There is one on this side, but once you get 3 out of 4 of them done, it pretty much loosens up. So I figured we'd deal with the back half of the trailer first, because it kind of becomes accessories for Motormaster. So we can just take the bottom off and you kind of got your roller car. It does become a shield, but I can't ever get it to really stick in there, and I think it's awkward. So I'm not going to show that. You can find pictures online. So here's your roller car. We can take the rest of the trailer here. We open these top flaps here and the side flaps on the side, and it's pretty much gonna let all of this stuff come off. It's all held in that way. Sorry about that. When I pulled this off, I saw these were here and I'm like, wait a second, did these have to fold out? And just kind of glitched my brain there for a second. But we are correct. So we have all this stuff off of here, and we can take this piece off, and we kind of have what's the base. And the sword sometimes will come out, and they kind of show it in the picture, just kind of the centerpiece of your base. So you want all this stuff to kind of fold up in place here like so, and like so. And that's the centerpiece of the base. So the next piece is like this arm piece here, and it's the same thing for both sides, so I'm only going to show one. You're going to take this, you're going to fold this in, and it's going to clip on the other side. Bring the gun out, raise this piece up, which does tend to unclip this. Fold this little piece in and fold this around, and just bring this forward so it clips into place. And this is going to make like a little gun emplacement thing. It's going to clip onto here, and there's a little handle here. Frankly, it's really awkward to use the base mode given the size of the figures, but it's here nonetheless. So the next piece to deal with are the legs, and again, it's going to be the same thing on both sides here. So I'm just going to go ahead and show one. We're going to take the gun off here, and then pop this thing in half, and it has these real strong clips that you saw on like Cybertron era toys. So if you don't end up kind of demolishing all this at one time, it'll kind of look something like this. So what they want you to do is take this, fold this down. This piece here folds around this way, and then this folds kind of like that. You can then take this back in this other direction, and we pretty much have everything we need to make the base mode here. So to finish assembling the base, we take the pieces of the trailer here and plug them into this side, and then the pieces that became the arms with these things in, try to find this gray circle here to clip it in. And this doesn't peg in. It looks like it should peg in here, but I don't see any way to actually make it peg properly. So it just kind of ends up looking something like this, which is fine. I get why they did it. It's a base mode, but it's kind of pointless for the size of the figures that they're offering here, but nonetheless, it's something to do with the stuff. We're going to take all this stuff, and we're going to only save these parts. The rest of it, for ease of the review, I'm just going to reverse the steps that I did to put it back to the trailer, half of a trailer mode. It's really not that difficult to get them back. If you do need someone to show you it, let me know. I can do a follow-up video, but I don't want to waste too much time. So one quick note to going back to the back half of the trailer, the sword does need to be put in before all this is put back together. Yeah, so just kind of put the sword in and build around it, but for the rest of this review, we're just going to leave it out because we're going to use it for Motormaster. Also, while we have it handy, let's go ahead and get the gun ready for Motormaster. We flip out the little peg, and we take the big one, and we put it in. So when it comes to the sword for Motormaster, mine has a little bit of an oversight. I suspect they all do. You'll flip this, and this all just kind of comes around. It works nice. It makes like this nice broad hilt. The problem I have here is, if you can see that, the black plastic here, it really tightly grips on here, so you need to file down just a little bit of the corners here to really make this work. But there we go, now the sword's ready. So I went ahead and took the handy dandy Hale Hasbro tool here, and I ended up just sawing, or sanding actually I should say, like kind of an angle and then a cross on the top on both sides. I don't think it'll affect him in his robot mode, but as you can see, we now have clearance. And I figured it was better than sanding the black because it's unnoticeable when it's in any other mode. So finally, we've got all that stuff out of the way. We can go ahead and actually get started on transforming Motormaster here. We're going to start by flipping up these panels here on both sides. And then these front panels kind of flip around to these cannon things, which are probably my least favorite part, and then take the waist and go ahead and swivel that around just like so. Let's bring the camera up here a little bit so you can see what's going on. We're going to take this front flap here and unclip it. Inside you can see, once again, we got a little like fake matrix here, leading me to believe that there could possibly be an Optimus Prime repaint at some point. I don't know if I would pick it up, but it's interesting. Take these other panels and fold that up. That makes the chest of Motormaster here. For the next part, we're going to come around to the back, and I'm Very sorry if it's hard to see. It's kind of a big black space. But we're going to unclip the Motormaster head, or the M-03 head I should say, from the top here, which is not really a problem because it tends to come unclipped all the time anyway. Bring these pieces out like that. Coming back to the top here, you can go ahead and flip what's going to end up being the arms here to the side. The Motormaster head comes up like this just to kind of get out of the way for now. Bring this little panel down like so, and make sure that these missile things are out of the way. Bring this panel down, and they tell you to push this out as best you can. I do find that I often end up pushing this back from the other side when I'm trying to mess with it, so just be aware of that. Fold the head antennas down so they're flat like this, and put the head so it's kind of facing you like this. Take this piece here now, and of course it's going to be a problem because it's just unclipped. Fold that up so kind of M-03's head is looking back at you, and then you should be able to fold it all down and squeeze it into position just like that. So from this point I deviate from the instructions a little. Kind of get these things out of the way here. They tend to fall. And bring his shoulders down here and flip his head around. And then bring these back up because they need to be flush when we close this. Now instructions say close the flaps and then fold this up, but I don't think that's the right way. I close the one flap and then I fold this up, and it kind of, you see how it's actually got like the cutouts here for these. It doesn't end up really working properly if you try to fold it closed first. So I fold that up and then I fold the last flap. And the last flap, it'll hold together, but it does have this tendency to pop out occasionally, fairly easily. But it's really ultimately not all that big of a deal. So let's deal with these rocket things. There is like a little slider on here. You want to slide it in, and then all this stuff kind of comes around and it collapses on the back. So once again, I'll show that here. Slide it on in, bring it, slide it in, bring it around, all this stuff goes in, and there we go. The rockets are on the back here. Also, while we're talking about the rockets, if they seem to look a little funny, make sure you put those tabs that we're out in, and that's a good thing. We'll do that for the arms right now too. So let's finish up with the arms here. Fold the fist out, take this, fold it on up, take this piece here, and God damn it, okay. So let's go ahead and finish with the arms here. We can take it, kind of bring it to the side. It gives us a little clearance to work with. Fold the fist out, fold this piece up. Now this side piece does kind of unpeg on one of those basically two swivel joints here, and you want to swivel it forward like so, and that'll actually let you free up all this, and you can just compress it all down. So now that we're done with the top, let's finish the bottom part here. We're going to split the legs, and there's two tabs here, one right here that you're flipping and one right here that you're going to flip in. Then we're going to go ahead, take the smokestacks, we'll compress them, take the air brake or gas canister, whichever one it is, I'm never quite sure about that, and unfold that. Take this smokestack piece here and fold it down just like so on each side. From here we can lift off the top of the roof here, and that clips right into the knee and down. Come on, there we go, and down. Pretty simple and straightforward. So coming to the leg portion here, we're going to go ahead and take like this toe looking piece all the way out and bring this sliding gray piece out. Bring this piece here, and it folds all the way down and in. It does get caught on itself a little, so just be careful of that one. From here though, what that's going to let us do is bring this whole thing up just like so, and then we can close this side panel here, and you'll see you have the big one and the little one. It fits into a big star port and a little square port on this side to kind of brace what is going to end up being his knee. It does work very well overall. So from here, we can just kind of go ahead and work on the toe. We'll take the rest of the truck out, bring this down. This unpegs, and this is one of my nitpicks of this toy. When this unpegs, it just kind of hangs there, and it does tend to get knocked around a fair bit. Coming back here to the canister, kind of fold out this little support piece, and then we'll come to the back of the leg here, fold this in, fold this down so it looks like a foot, and bring the support canister around to make a heel spur for this guy, and it does plug in. So the last thing you really want to do is take these, flip them down, and flip them behind here. They do get in the way of the knee a little bit. Here he is in his robot mode, looking pretty beastly. Very, very intimidating and imposing, if you ask me. So as you can see, shaving off some material doesn't affect his ability to hold the sword. He holds that and his gun just fine. I will say that the gun does have a little bit of droop to it by the way the handle works. But it's not too noticeable. So for a quick size comparison, here he is next to an official MP, one of the actual Stunticons, of course him, and then MP10 proper there. So you can see how he stacks up. Also not because I think it's necessarily super relevant. I mean it is size scale wise, but I think he looks awesome next to the fans' hobby Nemesis Prime. So let's go ahead and take him back to his truck mode. We'll go ahead and just kind of go in the reverse order. We'll take these out. Fold the little things in. You can go ahead and fold this wheel down. Do it on each side here. Take the front of the truck, bring this thing up, and that'll let us kind of close up the front cab here. Take these assemblies here, open the side piece, open this little foot, open the side piece. That's going to allow all this to come back down and in place again. This part, again, a little tricky. Kind of get your finger under it and just kind of get it to come up past this. It is tricky. And you can go ahead and close that piece up once you do. This piece can now close back in like so. So we'll go ahead and do that again for this side. Bring it down. Bring this piece up. There we go. Okay, sorry for the jump cut there. Was having a little trouble getting this one out. Anyway, got this in position. Unplug this here. Bring this up, and it is going to feel a little bit weird because don't forget we do have to bring this piece back around. Let's go ahead and not forget to get these little clips out here because they're easy to forget, and bring the smokestack up. So that should be one foot here, ready to go. There we go. Just wasn't pegging in right. And let's go ahead and do this wheel too so we don't forget about that. Just bring that up, and then we can close this little fuel canister. Like that. So there's the one side done. We'll go ahead and just rinse and repeat on this side here. We already did part of it, I forgot. Unpeg that, bring it up, kind of clip it in place, bring this around, and that will clip to secure all the back pieces. Bring this, flip it around all the way. Take this, fold it in place here. And make sure you have it pegged into the top there, it won't be right. And we can kind of close this all up and peg both halves of the truck together pretty securely. And that's really a great foundation to start with on this, because it's easier once all this is just one solid piece and not really flopping around on you here. Make sure, like I said, remember these little thigh flaps. Just make sure they're plugged in properly. That'll go a long way to help you later on. So coming to the top of the robot here, let's go ahead and we'll start with the hands. Fold this panel all the way down. Fold the thumb down, the hands in, just like so. Bring it around so this panel is forward and slide it upwards. I'm sorry, before we do that, bring this little tab closed, because it is going to clip in there to make sure that we have it the right place. It should look something like that when we're done. So go ahead and redo that. Close this flap first. And one thing that's real important is you got a lot of these double hinges here. Just make sure that they're properly straight when you're going back to the truck mode, or you will have problems. So we went ahead and closed that up just like that. We can go ahead and undo all these, just kind of pull them all the way out. Flip his head around. We'll come to the back here. Bring this piece down. Bring this. Bring this. Bring this. Bring these back down. And these can now slide up just like so. So from here, you want to take this piece here and plug it into the head of Motormaster. And it might be a little hard to do with these pieces here, so flip them out of the way to the side like this, just so we're making that top all complete here. And you'll see how all this stuff is going to kind of plug in. From here, I like to take these panels down. Even though they told us to bring them up early, I don't see any benefit to them being there, and it really secures all this. And that's going to let us take the Menasor head and plug it into the top there where it really needs to be. So after we have that, we can kind of line up these panels, take this piece, bring it forward, and then take the waist, rotate it up, make sure that you have the proper clearance with these little thigh flaps here. So it should look kind of like this. So now we just really have to figure out what we're doing with the rest of this here. So take the Menasor pieces and they fold up like this, and they should fit right on up in there. And now we'll take this thing, and it kind of awkwardly folds into place, and then once you know you have it, take this and close it, just so you can kind of secure it. So it kind of folds up and in, and you can see where these tabs are supposed to line up, so you'll get it there. And once you have it, like I said, hold it in place and close this just like that, and that kind of secures everything. Open up these little tabs here, and we'll take our back half of the trailer, try to align every single little tab as best you can, and then once you have it, start clipping them in place. And it's a little tricky to do, especially on camera, but you will see that all the pieces here will line up, and you can slowly kind of work them all together. And there we go. We got Menasor, or Motormaster, back in his truck mode. Overall, I think he's a fantastic toy. I would highly recommend picking him up. I've enjoyed the heck out of him, and even the combined mode, I think I've already previewed it because I was a little worried about it, and I think that's pretty good too. So I don't think you'll be disappointed, especially if you like the styling. So this is T2RX6. I hope you guys enjoyed the review, and I'll see you next time.